Let me start with a scene that happens every spring in America. You walk into a nursery on a Saturday morning. The weather is perfect. The carts are rolling. People are picking up bags of mulch, tomato cages, hanging baskets, and trays of flowers. Everything looks harmless. Everything looks cheerful. Then you stop in front of a plant with beautiful blooms, a clean little tag, and a price that seems completely reasonable. Maybe $8.99, maybe $14.99. You picture it beside your porch, along your fence, or near the walkway where your grandkids run when they visit. So you put it in the cart. But here is the part most gardeners are never told. Some plants sold legally at garden centers across the United States can poison a child, kill a dog, make livestock seriously ill, or create a removal nightmare that costs far more than the plant ever did. And the cashier is probably not going to warn you. Not because nursery workers are bad people. Most of them love plants. Many of them are hardworking, knowledgeable, and kind. But the retail nursery business is built around moving plants quickly, and those little plastic tags often tell you height, bloom time, and sun preference. But not the full risk sitting inside the leaves, stems, seeds, or roots. So today I want to walk you through 7 plants I would be extremely cautious about buying, especially if you have children, grandchildren, pets, or a yard that connects to natural areas. And for every risky plant, I will give you a safer alternative that still gives you beauty, color, structure, and curb appeal without the same level of worry. Before we begin, drop your state or USDA growing zone in the comments. A gardener in Minnesota does not face the same plant problems as a gardener in Florida, Texas, Arizona, or Georgia. Knowing where you grow helps this channel give advice that actually fits real American backyards. Now let's get into the list. The first plant on the list is monkshood, also known as aconitum. At first glance, monkshood looks like the kind of plant a serious gardener would be proud to own. It grows tall and upright, usually around 3 to 4 feet. It produces deep blue or purple flowers that look elegant, old-fashioned, and expensive. In a shaded perennial border, it can look like something from an English estate garden. But monkshood is not just a little poisonous if eaten. It is one of the most dangerous ornamental plants commonly sold. The concern is a toxin called aconitine. What makes this plant especially alarming is that the toxin can be absorbed through the skin. That means you do not have to chew the leaves or swallow the roots to be at risk. Handling the plant with a small cut on your hand can become a serious problem. Symptoms can begin with tingling, burning, or numbness. From there, exposure can affect the nervous system and the heart. In severe cases, monkshood poisoning can lead to dangerous heart rhythm problems and even death. That is not the kind of plant I want near a child who picks flowers, a curious dog, or a gardener who likes to work with bare hands. Monkshood is often sold for colder climates because it can grow well in USDA zones 3 through 7. That means gardeners across much of the northern and mid-Atlantic United States may see it for sale. The safer alternative is Siberian iris. Siberian iris gives you that same upright, elegant, vertical look. It has beautiful purple, blue, cream, or yellow flowers depending on the variety. Cultivars like Caesar's Brother give a rich violet-blue color that can satisfy the same design purpose monkshood usually fills. It grows about 2 to 4 feet tall, handles cold climates well, and spreads slowly over time. You can divide it every few years and expand your garden for free. Best of all, you can handle it without worrying that touching the plant is a medical event. Same graceful garden drama, far less risk. Foxglove is one of the most romanticized plants in American gardening. You see it in cottage garden photos, seed catalogs, magazine covers, and online garden inspiration boards. Tall spikes covered in bell-shaped flowers, purple, pink, white, cream, speckled throats, hummingbirds visiting, everything looking soft and magical. But behind that beautiful shape is a serious warning. Every part of foxglove is toxic. The leaves, flowers, stems, roots, seeds, and even water from a vase holding cut foxglove can be dangerous. Foxglove contains cardiac glycosides, compounds that affect the heart. In controlled medical settings, related compounds have been used in heart medicine. But in plant form, there is no controlled dose. A small amount can trigger nausea, vomiting, confusion, slow or irregular heartbeat, and in serious cases, cardiovascular collapse. Another problem is that foxglove self-seeds. If you plant one or two, you may find seedlings popping up in other parts of the yard the following year. Some gardeners love that. But with a plant this toxic, spreading around the garden is not always a gift. Foxglove grows in many regions, often in USDA zones 4 through 9, so it is not a rare specialty plant. It is easy to find, easy to buy, and easy to underestimate. The safer alternative is Penstemon digitalis, also called foxglove beard tongue. This North American native gives you a very similar garden shape. It has upright spikes of tubular white to pale lavender flowers, usually 2 to 3 feet tall. It blooms in late spring to early summer and looks beautiful in a mixed border. Unlike foxglove, Penstemon digitalis does not carry the same heart-disrupting toxicity. It supports native bees and hummingbirds, comes back reliably, and fits beautifully into American gardens. One excellent variety is Husker Red, which has burgundy foliage and pale flowers, giving you contrast even before the bloom show begins. If you want even more color, snapdragons are another safer choice. They give you the same stacked flower, spike look in bright colors, work well in containers, and are much more family-friendly. So if what you want is height, color, and charm, you do not have to take the foxglove risk. Before we move to number 3, think about how many plants you have bought over the last few years that you later regretted. Maybe they died. Maybe they spread too much. Maybe they were mislabeled. Maybe they looked pretty at the nursery but caused trouble later. That is why this channel exists, to help you buy smarter before the plant is already in the ground. If this kind of information helps you, subscribe now and ring the bell, because the next plant is one of the most common, dangerous landscape plants in warm parts of America. Oleander may be the most shocking plant on this list because of how common it is. Drive through Florida, Texas, California, Arizona, Georgia, or parts of the Gulf Coast, and you may see oleander everywhere. Along roads, around parking lots, beside fences, in HOA neighborhoods, near driveways, and used as privacy hedges. And honestly, it is easy to understand why people plant it. Oleander is tough. It tolerates heat, drought, salt, and poor conditions. It blooms in pink, white, red, salmon, and yellow. It grows fast and looks full. From a landscaping perspective, it solves a lot of problems. But from a safety perspective, it creates a serious one. Every part of oleander is toxic: leaves, flowers, stems, bark, roots, seeds, and sap. The primary toxin, oleandrin, affects the heart. Ingesting even a small amount can be life-threatening, especially for children and pets. And the danger does not stop with eating it. Oleander sap can irritate skin and eyes. Clippings are dangerous. And one of the biggest warnings is this: never burn oleander. The smoke from burning oleander branches can be toxic. That means someone cleaning up the yard after pruning could accidentally turn a toxic plant into a toxic smoke problem. If you have pets that chew leaves, children who play near shrubs, or livestock nearby, oleander deserves serious caution. For a safer alternative in zones 5 through 9, look at mock orange. Mock orange is a beautiful flowering shrub with white blooms that smell sweet, often compared to orange blossoms or jasmine. It can grow large enough to function as a privacy shrub, and varieties like Minnesota snowflake offer strong cold tolerance and gorgeous double flowers. For hot, dry regions where oleander is often used, consider desert willow. Desert willow is native to the American Southwest. It produces orchid-like flowers in pink, lavender, burgundy, or white, and it handles brutal heat once established. It also attracts hummingbirds and native pollinators. So if you want a flowering screen, you have safer options. You do not need to plant a shrub that turns every pruning session into a safety concern. Angel's trumpet and devil's trumpet are dramatic plants. Their flowers are large, theatrical, and tropical looking. They look like something that belongs in a botanical garden. Angel's trumpet belongs to the Brugmansia group. Devil's trumpet belongs to Datura. Both are part of the nightshade family and both can be extremely dangerous. These plants contain tropane alkaloids, including compounds like scopolamine, atropine, and hyoscyamine. Ingesting leaves, flowers, seeds, or roots can cause a frightening medical emergency. The symptoms may include confusion, hallucinations, rapid heartbeat, sensitivity to light, inability to urinate, disorientation, and memory problems. This is not an upset stomach plant. This is a plant that can affect the brain, heart, and nervous system. Datura is especially concerning because the seed pods can interest curious children. The seeds are concentrated sources of toxic compounds, and a child does not need to eat much to be in danger. These plants may be sold as tropical ornamentals or grown as annuals in colder areas. In warm climates, they can become large and long-lived. If your yard is visited by kids, pets, or anyone who might not understand the risk, this is not a plant I would recommend. The safer alternative is Rose of Sharon. Rose of Sharon, Hibiscus syriacus, gives you large, showy flowers in white, pink, lavender, purple, and bicolor combinations. It blooms from midsummer into fall, when many gardens need fresh color. It grows as a shrub or small tree, often 6 to 12 feet tall, and performs well in USDA zones through 9. Varieties like Bluebird, Minerva, and Diana can give you strong garden impact without the same toxic profile. For gardeners in warmer regions who want trumpet-shaped flowers and hummingbird activity, trumpet vine can be another option. It is vigorous, so it needs management, but it gives brilliant orange-red flowers and supports pollinators. The main point is simple. You can have big flowers and tropical drama without planting something that can cause a serious poisoning event. Castor bean is one of those plants that makes gardeners stop and stare. It grows fast. It can reach 6, 8, or even 10 feet in one season. The leaves are huge, sometimes deep burgundy or bronze, and it creates an instant tropical look in a flower bed. Garden designers sometimes call plants like this architectural, and castor bean certainly is. But here is the problem. Castor bean seeds contain ricin. Ricin is one of the most toxic, naturally occurring substances known. It interferes with the body at the cellular level and can be fatal in very small amounts. The seeds are the most dangerous part, and they can look attractive to children because they resemble large patterned beans. For pets and livestock, the danger is also serious. Dogs, cats, and horses can be poisoned by ingesting seeds or plant parts. In warmer parts of the United States, castor bean can also spread and become invasive, especially in places like California, Florida, Texas, and Hawaii. So yes, it looks dramatic. Yes, it grows quickly. But for a family yard, the risk-to-reward balance is not good. If you want bold red color, try scarlet sage. Scarlet sage gives you intense red flowers, attracts hummingbirds and pollinators, and blooms for a long season. It works beautifully in containers or mass plantings. If you want native red drama in a wet garden area, cardinal flower is another excellent choice. The red is vivid, the flowers are elegant, and hummingbirds love it. But if what you really wanted from castor bean was dark, dramatic foliage, look at ninebark Diablo. Ninebark is a native shrub with deep purple-maroon leaves, white flower clusters in spring, and strong structure in the landscape. It can grow 6 to 8 feet tall and is hardy in many colder regions. You get the drama, you get the dark foliage. You do not get ricin-producing seeds in your yard. That is an easy trade. This one may upset some people because lily of the valley carries a lot of memories. Many people remember it from a grandmother's garden. It smells beautiful. It blooms in spring with tiny white bells. It appears in wedding bouquets, old neighborhoods, and shade gardens across the country. But nostalgia does not make a plant safe. Lily of the valley contains cardiac glycosides, the same general type of heart-affecting compounds that make foxglove dangerous. All parts of the plant are toxic. Leaves, flowers, stems, roots, berries, and even wastewater from cut stems. The berries are especially concerning because they are small, round, red, and attractive to children and pets. Ingesting lily of the valley can cause nausea, vomiting, irregular heartbeat, confusion, and in severe cases, serious heart problems. But toxicity is only half the issue. Lily of the valley can also spread aggressively through underground rhizomes. Once it gets established, it forms dense mats that are difficult to remove. In woodland gardens, it can crowd out native spring wildflowers and take over more space than you intended. So while it may look delicate, it can behave like a bully. For a safer ground cover with neat foliage and purple flower spikes, consider liriope. Liriope muscari, especially varieties like Big Blue, gives you tidy leaves, lavender-purple blooms, and a controlled spreading habit. It works in sun or part shade and handles many American garden conditions well. If you want a native woodland look, consider Canada Mayflower in cooler northern regions. It has small white flowers and a delicate presence that fits naturally into shaded woodland gardens. Wintergreen is another beautiful native choice for acidic woodland soil. It has glossy evergreen leaves, small bell-shaped flowers, and red berries with a wintergreen flavor. You do not have to give up charm. You just need to choose a plant that does not bring hidden danger or aggressive spreading along with it. Wisteria is one of the most beautiful vines in the world when it is in bloom. Those hanging clusters of purple flowers, that sweet fragrance, the way it drapes over arbors and pergolas, it looks romantic, expensive, and timeless. But not all wisteria is the same. Chinese wisteria and Japanese wisteria are the ones I would be very cautious about planting. First, the seeds and pods are toxic. To a child, the seed pods may look a little like peas or beans. If eaten, they can cause severe nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, and diarrhea. Second, and just as important, non-native wisteria can become invasive and destructive. Chinese wisteria can climb trees, wrap around trunks, and eventually strangle them. The woody vines thicken over time, pulling down supports, damaging fences, reaching gutters, and becoming extremely difficult to remove. This is not a gentle vine. Once mature, it is powerful. In many eastern states, Chinese and Japanese wisteria are considered invasive threats because they escape gardens and spread into woodlands. Once established, they are hard to eliminate because root fragments can resprout, and removal can be expensive. A large old wisteria may cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars to remove professionally, especially if it has grown into a structure. The safer alternative is American wisteria. American wisteria, Wisteria frutescens, is native to the eastern United States. It gives you the same general wisteria experience, purple flower clusters, fragrance, and climbing beauty. But it is much less aggressive and far better suited to American ecosystems. A great variety to look for is Amethyst Falls. It blooms younger than many wisterias, stays more compact, and can even rebloom lightly later in the season. If you want the wisteria look, do not reach for the invasive Asian species first. Look for American wisteria and make sure the tag clearly identifies it. Same beauty, smarter choice. Now, before we finish, let's talk about what to do if you already have one of these plants in your yard. First, do not panic. A dangerous plant in the yard does not mean something bad has already happened, but it does mean you should take removal and handling seriously. Do not pull poisonous plants barehanded. Use waterproof gloves, long sleeves, long pants, and eye protection. Cloth gardening gloves are not enough for plants with toxic sap or skin-absorbed compounds. Keep children and pets away from the work area completely. Cut large plants carefully and avoid splashing sap. For shrubs like oleander, remove branches in sections. For plants with underground rhizomes or tubers, dig thoroughly because small root pieces can regrow. Most important, do not burn poisonous plant material. Burning oleander or other toxic plants can release dangerous compounds into the smoke. Do not toss these plants into a fire pit, burn pile, or outdoor cleanup fire. Also, do not compost them. Some toxins may not break down safely in a normal compost pile. The best approach is to bag the material securely, double bag if needed, and dispose of it according to your local waste guidelines. If the plant is large or you are unsure how to handle it, call a professional landscape removal service. After removal, wash your hands and arms, clean your tools, and wash clothing separately if sap may have touched it. Then watch the area for regrowth. Some of these plants can return from seeds or root fragments, so do not assume the job is done after one afternoon. The goal of this video is not to make you afraid of gardening. Gardening should be joyful. It should give you beauty, food, shade, privacy, fragrance, and peace. But a smart gardener knows that beautiful does not always mean safe. The plant tag at the nursery may tell you bloom color, height, spacing, and water needs. But it may not tell you that the leaves can stop a heart, the seeds can poison a dog, the sap can irritate your skin, or the roots can take over half the yard. That is why learning before buying matters. So the next time you walk into a garden center, slow down before you put a plant in your cart. Ask 3 questions. Is it toxic to children or pets? Is it invasive in my state? Is there a safer native or non-toxic alternative that gives me the same look? Those 3 questions can save you money, protect your family, and help your garden become healthier over time. If one plant on this list surprised you, leave a comment and tell me which one. Also tell me your state or USDA zone, because your location changes what is safe, what is invasive, and what alternatives will grow best. And if you know someone who gardens every spring and buys plants just because they look pretty at the nursery, share this with them. One smarter plant choice can prevent years of regret. This is Hope Garden, and I will see you in the next video.